24. James Creedon joins me. Good evening to you, James.
Evening.
Let's start, shall we, with reaction to an interview that's been given to France 24 by the President of Egypt, in which she talks about a possible pardon for those Al Jazeera journalists behind bars.
That's right, an interview by Sonia Dridi and Mark Perlman in Cairo, and indeed it was a breaking news story on our website for a lot of the day. Very interesting details coming out of it, in particular the chance that that these Al Jazeera journalists could be pardoned, and that is under discussion. Indeed, it has been a constant hashtag on social media for 327 days now, Free AJ Staff, and that was launched by colleagues of those journalists imprisoned in Cairo. Good news for journalism, if true, says David Weiner. So some people certainly optimistic based on that news. It was a very carefully built online campaign with slogans such as "Journalism is not a crime," and a lot of journalists from other networks as well got behind it, such as Channel 4 journalists, one of whom, indeed, Alex Thompson, put a selfie of himself online day after day after day with his mouth bandaged, indeed, as I suppose a reminder that silencing journalists in this way is simply not acceptable. So it's been a big online campaign that has kept the focus on the issue, Tom, and hopefully now things may be moving forward somewhat.
All right, so some cause for cautious optimism
Indeed.
there regarding their fate. Let's move on to another story now, one of our other top headline stories today. Concerns, doubts growing about this possible case of mistaken identity regarding that second French national in that video released by the Islamic State organization.
That's right, Michaël Dos Santos, and indeed it was almost taken as a certainty yesterday. In the French authorities seemed very sure of their information, and you can see here a photo of the man in question, who was being identified as Michaël Dos Santos, the 22-year-old French-born, brought up in the Paris suburbs and in Syria since 2013, and he appeared, or he was said to have appeared in this video that was released last weekend showing the execution of Peter Kassig. Now, one of our own journalists, Wasim Nasser, has been examining that video, and he has cast some doubts on it, first of all because of the excellent, perfect Arabic with a pronounced Syrian accent spoken by the man in the video, when he is French of Portuguese origin and only in Syria for the last 2 years, so that would seem highly unlikely that his Arabic would be so polished. Also, as Wasim Nasser pointed out, the colour of his eyes, here on the left is the man who appeared in that video with brown eyes, and in other photos of Michaël Dos Santos that he posted on social media, he appears to have green eyes. So even though they do look very alike, there appear to be some marked differences. Another journalist for our sister network, Radio France International, has been tweeting about this as well. David Thompson says that 4 of his sources say that the man appearing in the video is a Syrian by the name of Abu Umairan. Now, it's worth pointing out that Michaël Dos Santos has been communicating on social media, and he has said things such as he would be prepared to do what figures in this video did, in other words, behead Westerners. So it's certainly not exempting him of perhaps criminal intent, at least, but it does appear not to be the same individual, Tom.
All right, so they're both jihadists, but this is perhaps not the one in the video.
Indeed.
All right, let's go to another story you picked out for us, a bird's eye view of London that actually does come from a bird's eye.
Indeed, for once it is a bird's eye view. Let's roll these pictures. Pretty extraordinary stuff. It's I suppose, what has become almost generically known now as a GoPro, but in this case it isn't a GoPro. It is, in fact, a Sony Action Camera Mini that was placed on top, I suppose, of this imperial eagle. And here he is over various London spots and landing on the arm of his handler. This one is in Paris, Tom. It took place about a month previously, and rather chilly dive there for that white-tailed eagle in this instance called Victor, who dived from the Eiffel Tower. And all of this is to highlight the extinction of several large birds of prey, and indeed that particular bird of prey has not been in France since 1959, the largest bird of prey in Europe. So certainly a very eye-catching way to draw attention to the issue. And it reminded me of another GoPro animal video that came out a day or two ago, this time less, I suppose, worthy of a good cause. Here you have a squirrel. This was in the US, went up online on the 9th of November. It's had about 3 million hits on YouTube. And it appears to be a legitimate case of the squirrel being curious about a GoPro that was placed on the ground. He then decided to rob it and run up a tree, Tom. So it was a case of squirrel stealing GoPro and shooting a short squirrel movie up that tree with the rather perplexed owner of the GoPro left below until it was dropped. So it appears that eagles and squirrels have rather better camera skills than a lot of human beings.
Probably better than me. What a naughty little squirrel in that picture. Thank you so much, James Scrudian. That was this evening's edition of Media Watch. It's time now for Focus here on France 24. Today we're going to turn our eye